on this computer. Okay, so welcome everyone to Treehouse Meeting number 7. And this is going to be a special Treehouse meeting because I've deemed it raw and uncut. We're not going to sugarcoat anything. We're coming from an agency's perspective. We have 3 agencies joining us today. Myself from A3 Creative Solutions based out of Vancouver, BC, Canada. And we have Catherine Anderson from Scirocco Design and Peter Schmidt from GenieCore. So to get started, the format today is going to be just talking about the sites that we've done. In particular, we're going to talk about one particular site that we've done and things that worked well, things that didn't work well, issues that we've had, and solutions that we've found on it. We'll go through a few little things as well, like little widgets that we've created ourselves and sort of our workflow in creating things as well. Peter and Catherine, if you don't mind, if you guys can just watch the time, like I did say, sort of 10 minutes each to talk about this kind of stuff. So it might be good to stay on time. So if you can kind of like have a bell or something like when I'm getting close to like a minute left, because I know everybody's busy. And Peter, I know it's really late in where you are right now. And you got the Red Bull. I hope there's vodka in there as well. But and then so we'll have the 3 agencies talking, and then we'll open up the floor just for a question and answer. So again, this is not going to be your typical Treehouse meeting. We're just going to be talking. So listen in the background, mute yourself, hold your questions to the end if you can, or put them in chat. And so Catherine and Peter, if you can just monitor chat as well and just try to answer people's questions, just if it's relating to something Treeple as well. So I'll start. My site that I'm going to be showing off is let me just share my screen here. Is one of the larger soccer clubs in the Vancouver area. So they have a membership of about 35 to 4,500 kids playing soccer, which is actually kind of small compared to probably the European and Asian clubs as well from a youth soccer perspective. But I've had this client since 2014. We've gone through 2 iterations of their web design. So we had original design that we had, and then I rebuilt the site again just because they wanted to change up their identity a bit more. But they're very member driven. They're very news driven and accomplishments driven. So team accomplishments, coaching accomplishments, and all that. And I will say soccer because that's what we say in North America. But for those Europeans, it is football. Or footy, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm a soccer lad myself, so I play. So this is very, close to my heart as well. So, when I did my initial migrations with Treeple, I did like probably 5 or 6 of the really easy sites first, just to learn the program, and that was still back in like October, November. So, really the infancy stage of the platform. And I just wanted to get through those sites just to get to the point where, okay, I'm going to be migrating this larger site. And this is a large site. It's like 70 plus pages, modules, touching other modules. So it was a massive deal. And I just needed to, and it was non-e-commerce related as well. So I needed to find that perfect solution to migrate from BC over. If I could go back in time and apply the new version 4.0 migration app, it probably would have made my life so much more easy. And of course, knowing what I know now about the platform, there would have been different shortcuts. But so this one was definitely raw and uncut, and it was literally, download the whole site from BC, pull everything over via FileZilla, download, then just synchronize it through Dreamweaver, which I work with, and then just start editing the pages and updating module tags. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't as easy as that because as we were going through it, we were also updating content with the client. So it was kind of a redesign as well, but it was also a redesign of, oh, we should try this new feature because we have this new platform. We should try this new feature. So there's been things that have changed from the original iteration as well. So just go through my note here. So it's very when we launched the site in December, it was also right around their registration time. So they had just opened up player registration. So it went from like 70 users on the beta site to almost like 6,000 to 7,000 a day. So it really really tested the system. and there were some hiccups. Like the site was down for like a day and a half, and it was, or maybe sorry, a half a day. Um, and then luckily the client, was appreciated that we were moving to a new platform. But it was really frustrating. It was super stressful because you're dealing with a client that you're like, oh, this platform's awesome. We're moving it all over, and then this happens. We're like, oh. But what I do like about it is how quickly the Treeple team was able to actually fix the problem. And they were also able to identify, with such a large site going into the system, where all the hiccups were. So we were fine. So, unfortunately, I guess I became sort of one of those guinea pig accounts. And so there was the performance issue on Liquid, on how fast it was performing with multiple Liquid rendering tags on a page. And so honestly, through the process, it was frustrating at the start, but it was so awesome near the end. And the guys from Treeple were certainly helpful in that respect. So now everything's working fine. Customers happy. It's very, very good. And moving forward over the last 3 months, the websites of this size that are the same things, I'm not having any of those issues. So a lot of these issues were kind of addressed at the start. So just really quickly, I just wanted to show you a few things. So I'm going to be bouncing back and forth with people that are entering the room as well. And maybe Catherine and Peter, maybe just because I had the intros, maybe just add an extra 3 or 4 minutes on for me if you can. So one of the things we wanted to do is they weren't doing social media before. So I wanted to make sure that they had access to being able to, if they didn't have Facebook up yet, or actually hadn't built it yet, that, they could still put Twitter and Instagram. So we have it built out so that as soon as they add another social icon, it'll automatically push everything to the right and add that new social icon. Now there's set standards, of course, like, they can't just put any other social icon. It has to be, YouTube or Pinterest or whatever. But as soon as they put something in that text field, it'll show up here. The goal of the site also, I wanted to make sure, was the client had the ability to make updates to literally everything. And they felt a bit fine with BC, especially with the menus, especially with their so many pages, to move something up to the very top. It was like move up and then go down, move up, and it was really a struggle. So just the mechanism of the Treeple menu of being able to just literally grab it and move it to wherever you need was huge for them. So we rejig the menus. We rejigged. I didn't like the menu I had on the BC site, so we rejigged it to just a slightly different menu. And this site's built on Foundation as well. So I also had to, bring it from Foundation 4.5 or 4.7 all the way up to 6.3. So there's a lot of changes as well. And plus our SEO, the way we did SEO changed as well. So we wanted to make sure we were able to handle that. So I'm just going to log in here so I can sort of show you things as I go here. Live sites, Metro Ford. So as you can see, we don't actually put our agency logo here. We're not using Treeple's logo. We are managing people's accounts for them, as most of you guys are, and we just wanted to kind of disassociate it with our agency and just have it like a subset of our agency. So we call it Alpine CMS. We have another white labeled CMS that we use with a different platform as well. So that's what we use here. Close that one down. All right, so I'm gonna show you here real quick here. So I know it's one of those clients where you actually have somebody on staff that's actually knows what they're doing is super helpful too. So I'm sure you guys have clients that you have like one of those 2 clients that can actually go in and make an edit and not completely break everything. So we are lucky to have someone that can do that. Now they're not code savvy, so we built the site so it's not, you're not messing too many things up, but it's still nice to have that. So they really appreciated they can actually start to monitor this stuff right on the screen as far as which pages are being hit and which devices. Like in the last 2 months, we've changed up things on the site to accomplish more on the mobile side of things for them, and that's been really good for them because it's a lot of coaches on the field that are looking at, if a field's open and they're just browsing it on their phone. The Nice Editor has been really, really good for them, and I know from experience, if you're using a lot of JavaScript on the page, a lot of that stuff will break. It's just not serving up a lot of that JavaScript or jQuery for that. So any of those sliders that, carousel sliders, it'll probably break. And we usually tell our clients, like, look, the Nice Editor is really good. It's for updating text, but, some of the formatting may be a little off, and most of them appreciate that. So as far as the menu, we have all that stuff. I'm not going to go through the menu stuff, but what they also really liked about this was being able to update the admin menu configurator. So basically, we reshuffled the entire site for them, everything here. We changed up from, it says analytics, we changed up to dashboard, which says nice, to nice editor. And then we started pulling things out of the different sections and bringing them up front, because we knew what the member coordinator was going to be touching mostly. She was going to be touching news, club guide and resources, and which are basically content blocks, something similar to BC content holders, I guess. And then quickly be able to go and update a field status. So if you wanted to update Charles Best field, I could just go in here and for them, they can do this on the phone, but we built out the module as such that they can just kind of go in and change it to closed and hit save, and hopefully they're not looking at the site while I'm doing this, and refresh, and it should say closed. Sorry, my Wi-Fi is really slow today. Oh, that's unexpected. Oh. Did you guys catch that one? I was in the nice editor on that one, so I was like, what the heck? It's all the formatting, that was a skill testing question there. So yeah, as you can see, it changes up so we're just changing up just different variables on this one here. So I should probably change this one back. We've also tied this, so this is a custom module. So we've also tied this module to the field view as well. So we actually have a map attached to it as well. And so we're using the Google Maps API. So where we actually have, all the different locations are set here, which is really cool. People love this. And this is just a main page that kind of toggles all the different fields. But we're using longitude and latitude as fallbacks in case, the actual location isn't specified in Google, which has been really good. The other thing I wanted to show off here is these buttons up here. So pretty much everything on the page from the floating social bars. So we have these little bars if they wanted to have it so that this bar changes to blue, whereas top bar. Because they have all these little announcements that they want to do. So I want to change the top bar to, I don't know, let's change it to dark blue. And refresh. It's always nice doing this stuff live, right? So you can change the bar to whatever color you want, and just changes up the. So a lot of this stuff is very custom. Previously we had actually listed out all the Font Awesome icons from Font Awesome 4, and just by putting literally just going to Font Awesome and copying the I element, you can actually just paste it in here. So now they have the ability to I tell them just go to Font Awesome, and if you want a soccer ball, just go here, find the code, and copy it in there. So they have the ability now. We've basically opened it up for them a bit more. And this is all set to cookies as well. So once you clear it, it doesn't come up on it as well. And I actually have set it up so that I actually add the cookie expiry. So because in some cases they may want to have something only last a day, like a spam warning or something like that to their members. They can set the cookie expiry date as well. This is I think is logged to their. Oops, let's save that. It's always tricky doing this stuff on live sites, hey? You don't want to mess anything up. Okay, so this one was a bit trickier. This area right here. So normally this has two tabs. It had a tab for schedules, like sort of weekly schedules, and then they wanted to have an extra tab there just in case they wanted to have a third notice. So this is like a tab within a tab kind of thing. So this is drawing from the custom module. But they're going through championships right now with a lot of their teams, and they actually wanted to post, have the field status to the right and then the Coastal Cup schedules on the left. And so all they had to do is enable it. And I've set it up in such a manner that as soon as they enable, it'll open up to a 2-column tab. And if they open up to a third one, it'll open up to a 3rd column tab. But if they try to 4th one, it'll just default just to a limit of 3. So then they just set the weighting to wherever it needs to go. Now, the only tricky part is they just have to remember to set the active state of the, so if it's not an active item, that the active item is the one that starts at the very far start. So if you had 2, the active item would be that first one right there. All right, let's keep cruising along here. So they have a lot of documents. They have 260 documents. So it was a bit tricky. This was a bit of an issue with me at the start because some of the documents that they had in there, I didn't want to be searchable. And by choosing disable from search, with this many documents, just trying to find a document in here, you couldn't, as soon as you disabled, you couldn't use the search anymore. So they fixed that. So a lot of these little changes, again, I was sort of the guinea pig in all this. But I built out my own, document section, where you can define a particular folder if you want it downloadable, if you want what type of icon you want. I think I've showed this before. And then just random. And then you have the ability to categorize it like we did in BC, where you wanted to categorize it to different sections. And so that's our club forms. Yeah, so you can start to see all so these would just be like little tags. So anything relating to concussion awareness would fall under here, and they're just simple. All they are is just font awesome icons that I've just colored, basically. They have an area for contacts as well. So their main contacts, and this is one of those things that we actually adjusted as we built out the site. So some of their lead directors will actually have a bio because they're super soccer people. And in some cases, like Sarah, she has more info. She's got a bio on herself. That was tricky because I wanted to be able to show, let's go Sarah. So basically what I had done is, basically if there was anything showing in this area in the description field, so I'm using the if description field equals, I can't remember what I said, unless description field equals something, nothing's going to show up, and if it does, then the bio shows up, and then this little button shows up. So there's a little bit of a liquid parameters that we can do here. How are we doing for time, guys? Okay.
Yeah, you're like 15 minutes in.
Okay, thanks. I'll be shutting this one down soon. From a member's perspective, they wanted to have a user inputted web app section as well. So we have a lost and founds section. So this is where I'd actually created the properties. So this is one where people can actually sign up and create something. So we actually set user permission. So the person that's inputting it can add it, edit, delete, and specify release date as well, expiry date. We've set our defined custom fields in here with various parameters. And then we've created an edit view page. So this is a little bit different than BC, where BC actually had a separate edit details for user submitted. So I've just had to create my own. And with the help of a few people on the community, we've sort of been able to sort of ad hoc this. I'm sure it'll be different a little, a year from now or a couple months from now, but this is basically what we've had to do. So let me just log in here if I remember my login. Please work, please work. Nope. Try one more time and then I'll get out of here. No, okay. Anyways, it does work. So customer can actually, or a client can go in there and, if they've lost something in the field, they can create an account and they can post it. And even to the point of if they wanted to upload their own image, they can do that as well. But nobody ever uploads their own image. But yeah, this is user submitted. So if the person could go on and delete it if it was found or lost or whatever. So last thing, what else did I want to show? So the last thing was probably the club guide and resource section. So it's not really a section. These are just basically components or content blocks that are throughout the entire site. They have all these different guides, and what I've found with a lot of clients, especially if you're doing accordions or tabs, and if you have all that stuff on a page, they're inevitably going to break a tab. If you know how the structure of tabs work, they're usually ULs that are linked to a div underneath, And if you mess something up within that UL or LI or link, it will screw everything up. So basically what I've done is I've pre-built this for them. So all they need to do to update the team of officials and coaches and managers section is just to go in here. And so they just basically go in. So it's a bit more front end work on my side, but it certainly helped the client from breaking things as well. So they've appreciated that. And to be honest, the addition of the Nice editor, being able to go into that view and actually go in here and make that quick edit, because sometimes, even for me, I don't even know where I can't even remember where I put things. It's been really easy just to kind of go in here and update things as you go. So that is my site. I know we're working on another massive soccer club in Vancouver as well, and that's going to be probably a little bit even bigger than this site. And it's going on the Treehouse platform. That's due to launch June 15th-ish, knock on wood, that we get all the content in time. So that's always the goal is hands up if you have an easy time getting content from clients. See, nobody's putting their hands up, so we know this is one of those things, right? So yeah, anyways, that's my site to show and tell. If anybody has any questions about things that I've done on the site, feel free to put it in chat, and we can also private message if you need some help on certain things as well. So that is me. So who would like to go next? Oh, Catherine, I don't think I can hear you.
No, I'm easy. I can go next if you like.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, fantastic. What I wanted to do is just go through a little bit about where we're at, and then just show one quick migration that we did, and a new site that we've set up in Treehouse out of the templates. So my name's Catherine Anderson. I'm from Sirocco Digital, and we're in Newcastle in Australia, and we've been BC partners since 2010. We also run Business Catalyst SEO, and we provide a lot of SEO and search marketing services for BC and Treehouse partners now, which has been great. We became partners with Treehouse last year in July, and since then we've created some new sites using their templates, and we've also migrated some sites, which has been great. It was pretty slow going at first, so learning the platform and working out how we were going to quote for migrations. But we're now starting to really increase our workload on Treehouse and are quoting for migrations more accurately, especially now that the BC to Treehouse app has become more advanced. This has really sort of helped us sort of automate those migrations, especially for items that we were manually moving, like photo galleries and URL redirects and blog posts. And this has really sort of allowed us to reduce the time costs for our clients, which has been great. Look, we've been providing consulting services too for co-production on SEO for the platform, and we've been working with Treehouse partners to sort of really improve their customers' website SEO and AdWords too. So we've really had to deep dive into the platform as quickly as we could, so that we could really be able to nut out what was going to work, what wasn't, and what would give us sort of the most longevity. We've been really enjoying actually working with the new SEO tab and the new SEO options that we didn't have available in BC in the past. So we're finding it a lot more systematic now that we've got an SEO tab for pages and custom modules and blogs. It's certainly easier for us and our clients to manage, we're finding. So we've managed migrations by creating a checklist, and we're using that to quote, but also to work out as a bit of a procedure. So we're using it to quote and then as a procedure to step us through the actual migration. So that's been really invaluable, and it's helped ensure that we haven't sort of had anything drop off the radar, that nothing's overseen or forgotten, which is really easy to do, especially when you're migrating multiple sites at once. It's like, oh, where was I up to with this one? So having a checklist there has been fantastic. Look, it's also really important for migrations to be seamless so that clients don't lose any rankings, and making sure we have all those loose ends tied up has been really, really vital. The functionality that we found has been more time consuming for migrations is things like resetting the menu bars, FAQs, because Ajax functionality isn't just out of the box, setting up the blog sidebars, and things like homepage sliders that were were controlled by the app that you could get from the BC App Store. We had a few clients using that who didn't have, web apps. So it's been more of that kind of JavaScript, CSS resetting, especially with URLs that are in CSS and when URLs are changing on the new site. So they're the kinds of things we found that have been a little bit more time consuming with migrations. But for us, we found the most sort of time and cost blowouts have been around, ensuring that there are sufficient 301 redirects in place for site moves, especially if any of the URLs are changing. So that's a big one. Another element, I guess, is deleting absolute URLs from sites that don't have SSL enabled. This has required sort of extra time allowance when it comes to the actual move or prior to the move. So that kind of just adds to the extra cost of the migration, because it's something you normally would do when you're upgrading to SSL, but because they haven't already done that, that now has to become part of the migration cost. So that's something that we've sort of had to tackle. Also setting up Google Analytics so that customers have a feed and analytics with goal conversions for form submissions, and event tracking, and a dashboard that's sent to them each Monday like they're used to getting with BC. That was a little bit unreliable, the BC stats, but clients really liked having that come through. So, just being able to replicate some of that has been sort of an extra cost on top of migrations. But we have found that the Treehouse support has been amazing. They've had really good assistance in getting sites live. They've been really brilliant. If we've had text record issues or new email accounts we need to set up, we found it, especially considering our time zone is nearly opposite to theirs. They've actually had a really good response rate, and the forum's been really been a godsend. And the partner community have just been superstars. They're really helping each other out, and it's been a real blessing to have that, way beyond what we ever had with BC. So something I'm really thankful for. So now what we're finding to be a great upgrade has been the new sitemap XML. We've certainly got so much more granular control over what's listed. It is harder for clients to manage, we're finding, because we can't globally switch off custom module items from viewing on pages, and new pages aren't automatically enabled. So there's a little bit more client education that's involved, but it's still so much better than what we had on BC. The new photo galleries have been really good because we can really SEO them now. Liquid has been fantastic for custom modules, and also just implementing SEO too. That's just made things really nice and clean for us. Separating the head details from the actual pages has been really helpful because there's less chance that customers can strip out that information, which we found used to happen quite a lot. The web forms have been really super easy to set up and less issues around required fields, and easy to identify what field there is, because there's no custom fields anymore with numbers and you're like, oh, what was that field, and because things are named what they're called. So we found that really good. Look, once there's a WYSIWYG editor for the autoresponders, that'll help our customers be able to edit that side of it more, but we found the web forms have been really good. We love the menu bar drag and drop too. That's been really nice and fast for us to set up menus. And, even doing things like canonicals, instead of it being embedded in the HTML, now it's separate. So it's just a cleaner way to work. And we're finding that that's been really, really fantastic. Even things like the metadata, having the character counter, that's been fantastic for our clients and good for us to be able to do a quick check and a review of things. So that's been helpful. Even things like the URL redirects has now got a little search function in there, so you can search for a URL redirect. Like that's a huge time saver. And I love the HTML editor because it's all coloured, so it makes it really easy to see issues in the code. Sometimes you get little red crosses where there shouldn't be, but generally it's a huge improvement. So that's been fantastic. One of the most exciting features for us, which I believe is being rolled out over the next 24 hours, is the ability to pause clients' websites that aren't paying. From a partner standpoint, that's a really big bonus and a huge step forward for our business. So, it gives us a lot more hand when it comes to invoicing and payments for sites. So that's been really exciting. So overall, we've had a really, I suppose it's been challenging, but it's been a really exciting move over to Treehouse, and we're certainly learning a lot at the moment and feel like we're moving our business forward. So that's really important. Now I'm just going to do a very quick screen share because I would like to just show you what I've got here for a migration. Okay, I'll just move across to this one. Share that. Okay. Hopefully you can see my screen now. Okay, so we've moved a site over from BC. It was for a training company, and we do quite a few websites for them. And we've been able to literally, if I flick between the two, they're pretty much identical. They've changed their logo and the header, but the site is pretty much identical from a migration standpoint. So that's something that we were really thrilled with, that we could just move a site across and it looked pretty much the same. So yeah, that's been a huge step forward. We set up a documents custom module web app. So similar sort of thing where we manage literature items with a list view in Liquid, and it outputs the correct sort of font awesome icon. So I'll just jump into one of these pages. So these are for courses. So a lot of them have these course descriptions. I've done a very, very similar thing. Look, it's not ideal because trying to link just straight hyperlink text to that web app item or that custom module item doesn't really work in this instance, but you know, we sort of set this up, and that's been a really good substitute for media downloads. Again, you know, being able to pick and choose what goes into the sitemap was really fantastic. We also had to create a new FAQs listing. They don't have Ajax out of the box, so we've got a couple of different views though now on the FAQs, which is good. So we can have ones that are like an accordion and ones that just list like this. So once we sort of worked out what we needed to do with FAQs, that's all pretty smooth sailing now. We had a good play with the blogs and getting latest posts and tags and things like that to you know, start displaying. Once we got that down pat, which we actually got off the demo site, this is something that I know Adam's been putting a lot of work into. There's this great little demo site where it actually shows you the code for the general blog layout, but also then once you go into one that's sort of a full description, he's got the code for that too, for down the side, so that we can include all of the new categories and tags and by month. And once we sort of got that right the first time, that's been really easy to implement. So that's been fantastic. We also created, of course, had to create new forms. So that was another thing that needed to be done. But again, the forms are really easy to set up and really fast. And we found them much, much easier to work with than what the BC forms are. The other thing that's fantastic is this wonderful little reCAPTCHA 3 that we can now use, because that's obviously a real bugbear when it comes to clients. So that's been helpful. We found all the web apps moved over seamlessly to Treeple. One thing that took a little bit more time, you know, was just, you know, disabling some of the views so that they didn't show up in the sitemap or in search results. But, you know, it was all pretty straightforward. We also had to create, you know, a layout for the search view. So just had a bit of a play with that and getting pagination right. But again, with this sort of thing, that once you've done it once, it's quite easy then to apply to all your other sites. So little things like having to put your you know, first name and email autoresponders, and you know, the module style sheets, moving that over to CSS, but everything else was just a straight move. So it was all really straightforward, we found. The other thing we did as we went that wasn't just a straight copy paste was, of course, you know, moving all the metadata and things like the canonicals and any sort of site verification codes, or you know, AdWords conversion tracking. That whole sort of had to get separated and put in the SEO tab. But now that it's like that, it actually keeps it really clean, and we're just finding that that's easy to manage. So we also migrated the URL redirects using the BC to Treeple app. So that was fantastic. That was a good time saver. And other than just a couple of little CSS tweaks that we did, it was all pretty much a very, very sort of straightforward migration. So we were really happy with the result. And I know the client's really happy because it pretty much looks identical. So another site that we set up, and it's just a newly launched site, is one that was just off one of the Treeple templates. So that was really good because it gave us a chance to really understand the system by using one of their templates. And all their custom modules worked exactly the same as what their web apps would for BC, so that was really straightforward. We didn't use the media downloads for documents, like the media downloads, the custom module that we've set up for the other site. But that's certainly something that we could do for them in future, because there are quite a few downloads on the site. But, you know, huge SEO improvements for our clients with photo galleries and, you know, really nice kind of features and different designs that we've found really nice to be able to add. especially considering it just, it comes with the template. So that's been great. One of the nice options that we're actually looking to implement for clients like this is if we can, in the get a quote section, if the client is interested in a certain product, then on the form, the autoresponder form that they receive, we can have custom information sent to them and supplied to them. So that's something really exciting that we had a lot of requests for in the past for BC, and it was a lot more fiddly to have to deal with. URL redirects, again, all those sorts of things we were able to move straight over. So that was really easy. We needed to fiddle a little bit with some of the responsive layouts with this, but that was just because we wanted things to look a bit different to what it was. But again, it was a fairly straightforward build, and I really enjoyed using the templates. The CSS is all in one file, and the JavaScripts are all quite tight. So that's really good. It makes it, easy to work with. So look, overall, we've been feeling really confident now with our migrations and our new site builds. And as the system's still sort of developing, we're still sort of trying to work out what we can and can't do. But, I guess it's a little bit more time consuming still at the moment until we really get our mojo, but we're really feeling a lot more confident. And, hopefully as the CMS becomes more complete, we can really sort of start focusing on building more sites and migrations and extending kind of the functionality that we're able to provide for our clients. So we're really excited about what's coming and some of the new features that are being released. Okay, so back to you guys.
So Aaron, you just want me to take over from here, or? Okay, great. Well, thanks for that, Casper. That was very well covered about all the pros and cons at the moment. So my presentation is going to be a little bit different from what you've seen. So I'm glad that you got all the things covered from Treehouse to BC. That was great. So yeah, I'm Peter from Genie Corp in Denmark. We've been a BC partner since 2010. We had 105 sites on BC, and yeah, the UL was horrific, and we needed a place to go, and we went with Treehouse. So we haven't regretted it yet, so that's great. We've just launched 2 new sites yesterday, so that brings us to a total of 27 migrations, and some of them are new sites. I would say 10 new sites. So the thing I'm going to show you today is just it's a fairly simple custom module or web app, as you would know them from BC. We've done it for ourselves, as it started out sort of a gimmick, but when we showed it to clients, they were like, we want the same thing. So yeah, so we did it for clients as well. But I'm just going to show you real quick. I've just set up a demo, but it's yeah, it's fairly simple, as I mentioned. Just going to share my screen here. So everybody see my screen? See the desktop? Great. So this is just basic Treehouse site, just used for the demo. So we did this custom module. I just call it client meetings. So it's actually just for confirming meetings with clients. You can use it for yourself, or we have clients that use it for their customers or clients. So it's a fairly simple custom module that just where you put in what the meeting is gonna, who you're gonna have the meeting with, the time, and so on. So I just, for the demo, I just did this one. So the company is Treehouse, Peter, I'm the client, the date of the meeting, time of the meeting, and then I'm gonna go back and show you this in a minute. So what you end up with is just like in BC, you have a link for a detail view. And I would just, when I had a conversation with the client via the phone or anything else, I would just send him a regular email telling him to please confirm the meeting. and I would include this link so he can go and confirm it. So he will end up on a page looking someone like this. So it's just gonna be a greeting. Hi, Peter. We look forward to seeing you May 8th. Blah blah. And yeah, guys, there might be a lot of spelling mistakes, etc. I just did like a quick translation, and you also get the chance today to learn how to say coffee in Danish. So that's just kaffe, because I was just lazy and I didn't want to change all the images. But yeah, it's just going to greet you with hi, Peter. We're looking forward to seeing you. What would you like during the meeting? Blah, blah, blah. As mentioned, it just started off like a gimmick, but the clients really liked it. So the client can go here and choose whatever they want to have for the meeting. This just say you have chosen coffee, water, etc. And then they can put in notes for the meeting, saying if they have like special requests or anything like that. And then they can just confirm the meeting, and you would get like a regular workflow notification, so you know what your client has ordered, or what you want to call it. As mentioned, it was just a gimmick, but it turned out that it was actually quite a good conversation starter. When people showed up, they thought it was quite cool that they could order all these things like before the meeting. And actually, we found that it was quite easy, because then you could just prepare anything. And you didn't have to start the meeting off by getting coffee, water, whatever. So you can actually add anything you want in here, because it's just like a regular custom module, so it's quite easy. So what we did, you can add, yeah, whatever you want, but we just did like, for example, a parking. So this just says yes in Danish. And we also did another gimmick called the Madman menu. So if I just save this, go and refresh the page, you will have, now you have like a section showing how they park at our office location. We have like an underground elevator style parking. So many people are like a bit scared of how do it work, how do we do. So that's just a quick video to show them how that all works, so they can see how they do payment, how the car will go down the elevator, etc. And for the clients that we know a bit better, or if they have like late meetings, they can also order from the Madman menu. And it also started off like a gimmick, but it's actually yeah, a lot of clients think it's quite funny. And I think one of the clients that did the first time, we had like 3 guys coming in at 9 a.m. and they all ordered like whiskey sours, and they didn't think we were gonna do it. So when they showed up at 9 a.m., we were having whiskey sours, and they thought it was quite cool. And actually, yeah, they ended up being clients of ours, and quite good ones. So I think it helped along the way to just spice it up a bit. So that's one thing. And then when they have ordered all these things, you know what they're gonna get. That's great. But the next thing is that when you have the company and the client, etc., we also do we just publish the info on like a very simple info screen. I can just show you. I'll just stop sharing. So I'm just gonna turn you around here in the office. So that's the screen I just did. So it just says welcome, company name, Treehouse, and name. And it's fairly simple, because it's just a page on a TV screen. But for some reason, when people see that and everything is prepared for them and so on, it just gives them the impression that it's everything is prepared, and they feel like very welcome. And it's a good like conversation starter, because they would say, we would like that as well. We'll say, yeah, well, you just need to buy the website, and then we can just implement this, and you can do it on the website. So it actually started off as a gimmick, but it's turned out to be quite a good thing, because we do a lot of these screens for clients, just also like the ordering of things, but also just like simple welcoming screens where they can just go in the custom module, add whatever, who's coming, and the screen will just automatically update and show next meetings. You can show anything on that screen. But for some reason, people just find it really cool just because it's on a TV screen, even though it's just like a regular website. So yeah, that was just my input for today. And please go and I will send you the link so you can order whatever you want when you come and visit. I hope you order whiskey sours. We do awesome whiskey sours, or actually John does. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. Back to you, Aaron.
That was really cool. That was, you know what? It almost solves the problem, because we typically, well, we have a coffee maker in our office too, but it's like budget coffee maker. So it's kind of nice sometimes if you can, you know, if they prefer Starbucks, if you put that in there, they can actually pre-order it from. But the beer thing is really tough one too, because you never know, like, you know, guys are coming at 4 p.m. and they, you know, you want to order some beer and they show up and they don't drink beer. Well, then all that beer comes back to me and it's not so healthy for me. So that's why I'm like, this is actually, you can order based on the meeting, which is probably a better thing, right? So anyways, we digress. Good job, Peter. That was awesome. Thanks so much, Catherine. That was awesome as well. So I think at this point in the meeting, guys, it's if anybody has any questions, I've been trying to answer as much from the chat as possible. Sorry, Jack, I doubled up my comments. I didn't realize I was just sending the info back to you from Tim's question. But if anybody has any questions, now is the time. The floor is open. Anybody wants to talk about? We basically have about 10 minutes if somebody wants to talk about their own site that they've built on Treeple as well. Don't leave me hanging here. Somebody's got to say something.
Hi guys, I'll say something.
Thank you.
I can't wait to come and visit you, Peter.
Me too.
That's a really top customer touch point. Well done.
Yeah.
Look, guys, I have had my head in another project for about 6 weeks, and I've built one site on Treeple, and I've gone back in the last week and had a look back at the platform, and I cannot believe how much it's improved in that time. So yeah, the changes are phenomenal. The link manager in the WYSIWYG editor, I know I pushed Alex for that, and it's just amazing. It's transformed. You know, when I can do customer training now, it's just so much easier if they're using that WYSIWYG editor. So I've got a couple of sites I've started building again this week on Treeple, and I'm really in love with it. I think it's really come together well. So I'm looking forward to the new developments that come, and watching it grow. It's just been amazing. So yeah, good stuff. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I know for us, there's other platforms that we're looking at. I mean, we're looking at SiteGlide and we're looking at Duda and all that kind of stuff, but it's what's fit the need after the EOL. And after looking at the platforms, and SiteGlide's pretty far along, but even like things like Blueberry, it looks good, but it doesn't seem like it's ready yet. And this is ready enough to send 20 or 27 clients to now. So it's been good. There's certainly things that are missing for me. You know, there's certain frustration points, but I know they're going as fast as they can possibly go too. So it's, you know, and I think from their point of view, they'd like to see this thing grow as much as possible. So it's good that we have this nice community, tight-knit community. Hopefully it grows, but we will see. We will see. But we're happy with everything that's going so far. So hopefully everybody else is as well. I see Scott and someone else in the background there. You guys are just hanging out, just watching in the background. I love it. Yeah. Where are you guys out of?
Hi, all. We're based in Saskatchewan, Regina. So a little closer to Aaron, I guess, than most of you folks in Canada here. So we really enjoy these meetings, and we're nowhere near as large as some of you are. We've only got about a dozen sites on BC at this moment. A couple of them simply will not survive. But we're just ready to start some transitions, and we're working on 2 brand new sites on the new platform as well. So slow but sure, steady wins the battle here. So thanks for your contributions the last few weeks, everyone. A couple of new ideas we've seen along the way, so appreciative of that. And yeah, we'll look forward to making our own contributions to the community as well.
Nice, thank you. So let me just pose this question: what are people doing for migrations? Are you guys doing free migrations for people? Are you just doing like charging a couple $100? Is it really depending on the relationship? Like how are you guys handling this right now?
For me, it's I feel like each customer needs to be looked at. I spoke to Alex about this because he was wondering why I've still got 56 sites on BC, and he was wondering why I hadn't just migrated them. But some of those customers have quite old sites. Some of them, need updating. I think that each site that I look at, it's up to the customer to decide whether they want to migrate their site in its current form, or we need to do a rebuild. In some cases, I've even got old sites that aren't even HTTPS secure. So, it's a huge change if we're taking and dragging them. You're basically dragging the customer along, telling them that they need to make a change. At this point, I think that it's going to get to like the pointy end, and it's going to get really desperate for some customers because they'll run out of time eventually. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I still feel like I just can't migrate people. I think that, each customer needs to be looked at individually. That's what I'm finding anyway with my client base.
Yeah, it's always a conversation too, like, who's on the hook for this? Is it the client that should be responsible for this? Is it us that's responsible for this? I mean, we were the ones that promoted the platform, but I'm sure most of us would have never promoted the platform had we known the platform was going away, right? So that's kind of how I'm looking at it as well. And so you're kind of going through those battles. You're kind of having to go back to that customer you haven't spoke to in a year, and go back. Okay, here's what's happening. You got to massage the relationship. Okay, everything's okay. Don't worry. You're set. But we need to do this sooner than later because we're not going to do it at the 11th hour. We have to do it now. So we've actually been offering incentives to people just to it's been using it as a training for us, but just kind of like when it does get down to that 11th hour, we have hopefully less people, but you're going to have to pay a premium at that point because we did give you options after option after option after option. So that's kind of where we're at. So I mean, it's the pricing changes for every site. Could be like $500 to upgrade it to $1,000, or they would just say, it's time for revamp, right? And that's where that conversation comes in. If we haven't done a site revamp for 2 years, okay, maybe we look at that 2-year cycle to renew the look and feel of the site, right? So it's like you said, it's different for every client. So, but the migration tool, nobody needs to know about that, but it certainly helps out the process, rather than having to pull everything down and then push everything back up again. So hopefully that helps our efficiencies, right?
Aaron also feels it's confusing for the client because there's so much spam around. And I had one client that said someone called him yesterday to say, that they've got a quick one-click solution out of BC. Yeah. There's so much of that sort of spam around as well, which is also a confusing point for the customer. So yeah,
we've been getting a few of those. Not so many after I sent a nice email to them, but yeah, we've been getting a few of those vulture emails that have come through, targeting our clients. And we've had clients come back to us and say, "What's this all about?" Like, well, we did talk to you on the phone, but yeah, this is what's happening. So there's a lot of nursing. So it's not an easy task, like, for things like, Alex saying, how come we can't get 56 sites over? Well, it's not as easy as that. It's relationship rebuilding and building, right? So it can only go so fast. So.
I just wanted to say something. What helped us a lot is basically the fact that we have web apps available now in the Pro plan, because we have lots of clients on web marketing or silver, and the ability to migrate them to the Pro plan, which is basically the same price, gives them so many opportunities. I just had a client meeting today, and we're migrating this client from web marketing to Pro, and custom modules gives them so many more ways to control the content, which they just didn't have before. So we are like, it's easy to upsell the migration because there's just more value in the new system. So that's really, really a great asset, I have to say.
Yeah, as Tim mentioned about the packages, they're a bit better, and I get we have a lot of clients that we can move just down to essentials or the essential on Triple, and it's almost like half the price. So actually, you can do like fairly cheap migration, but then you have the markup, just keep the same price, and then just do that from the client. We've been doing like free migrations. We've also been doing like redesigns for like a couple of $100, and we've been doing like all new sites for like normal prices. So it's been very different. I actually think we did 2 sites without telling the client at all, just because they were like very simple sites, and they never touch them. I don't even think they have access to the admin. So we just migrated them just to move along, and they get SSL along the way. That's also a bit of what we have done for the clients that didn't have SSL. We use that like for setting a unique selling point. Just tell them, well, you can get the SSL. You actually need it anyway. So if you just pay like a couple of $100 for us to migrate and install the SSL, that's fine. But when we move to the more advanced sites, as features become available in Treeple, we'll also need to like push the pricing a bit up. Yeah, it's just different from client to client, as Megan also explained. And the thing is that it's easy for most of the clients, when we did like the simple sites, the migration is the easy part because it only takes like a couple of hours. But selling it to the client, telling them what's going to happen, and all these relationship things with the client, that's the thing that takes time. The migration is at some point, in some cases, it's the easiest thing. So yeah, it's very different from client to client.
Agreed. Totally agreed. So if anybody else has anything to say, we'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, were you guys okay with the meeting style today? I think we're kind of our tester meeting here. I think it's good to showcase some case studies, and if it works out well, then maybe we start showcasing some, how did you do that sessions as well. So I know we tried doing that, but we only had 3 people show up, so it'd be good to have more people involved, and when we actually go dive deep into certain things as well. So, but other than that, last question I had for you guys all. But so, what plan are most people on right now? For those that have migrated sites, what are you mostly the business? Are you mostly on the Pro plan? Does anybody have any sites on the Pro Plus plan?
I've only got the Pro plan so far and the business plan.
Yeah, for me, it's changing something over from web marketing or the silver plan from BC, even just putting them in the business plan, as long as they didn't have secure zones, I can still regulate the workflow content output for the workflow of the forms. But as long as they're okay with not having multiple workflows and secure zones, I can pretty much do the custom web app styles in the business plan as well. So that's been really good.
Yeah, we are also doing most of our plans on business. I said Pro early on, right? I meant business, like okay. Migrating from marketing to business, because that's the same price. Yeah, but it's like basically we can do everything with business so far. We have some plan. We have some clients who will go on Pro and Pro Plus maybe next year.
Yeah, we haven't put anybody on Pro Plus yet. So we, although that big soccer site I was showing you, it probably would have been better suited on Pro Plus, just so I could actually expose the modules a bit more and work with sub root folders and stuff. But other than that,
I mean, what's also interesting is that staging opportunity that you can actually like work on a live site. We haven't done this yet. I don't know how this will work. I don't know if it's available yet. It's not available yet, right?
I don't think it's available yet, no.
But that's really interesting.
No, for sure. So have you guys received the new update yet, the latest sprint? Because we haven't received it in North America yet.
I haven't checked. I haven't checked today.
None of my sites, yeah. So it looks like there's some good bug fixes as well. I did get some info on some of the bug fixes. So there's it actually looks like there's more bug fixes that everybody's been sort of asking for than actual new updates too. So all those updates that you saw online are showing up, the multiple domains and pausing clients and stuff. But there's been certainly a lot on the date time functionality. I think there's now we can use the timestamp option now in liquid date filters, which is kind of cool. So certainly a lot being done. And I should let you guys know that I'm probably going to take a break from the Treehouse meetings for a month and a half, just based on our workload and holidays coming up and kids graduating and all that kind of stuff. So it's a bit of a crazy time right now for the next 2 months. So so if anybody wants to run the meetings, if they want to, or we can just wait until midsummer. It's totally up to you guys. So it's a community thing. Sound good? Perfect. So thanks to everyone that showed up today. We had a total of 17 participants today, which was awesome. I thought it was just going to be me, Catherine, and Peter showing up today. So thank you guys for showing up. And I will be recording this video in case you missed something, and just give it a bit to upload to YouTube. And enjoy the rest of the day. Peter, time to get to bed. And we'll have a great day and have a great weekend, guys.